Hello and welcome to the Holistic Healthcare Self-Care class program. I'm Christina Bornstein, the director of the self-care program, and we offer you these classes freely based on sacred reciprocity, which means that if you do have money to give, we are deeply grateful for that. And if you're not able to at this moment, we ask you to pay it forward with an act of kindness. And you can find all information, all classes on holistichealthcommunity.org. We have amazing programs, amazing practitioners, amazing videos, and today we are adding to that great lineup with Holly Shelowitz, Loving Your Liver. And Holly is a certified nutrition counselor, menopause coach, culinary educator, and aromatherapist. For over 25 years, through her in-person and online client sessions, cooking classes, workplace wellness workshops, and educational events, Holly has been teaching everyone how to nourish themselves through every season of their lives and how to do it simply. A regular she is on the Northwest Public Radio. Holly also teaches aromatherapy for stress relief and wellness. She's worked with Whole Foods Market, Omega Institute, and companies like Ellen Fisher, American Express, and UPS. We are very honored to have her here today teaching us how to love our liver. And if you want to learn more about Holly, you can go to nourishingwisdom.com. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to Holly Shelowitz.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Hey everyone.
Yeah.
It's and thanks to the holistic health community for all of the wonderful, wonderful work that you do in the community and reaching so many people. I'm honored to be a part of it. So today's topic is about loving our liver, and often the liver is an organ that we kind of maybe don't think about unless something may be going wrong with it. Or, you know, some people, you may hear more commonly that people have gallbladder issues. But like, I'm here to educate us about this incredibly important organ that is essentially the master detoxifying organ of our entire body, of our entire system. It has massive impact on hormone levels, especially for women in menopause, on like literally everything that we take into our bodies, whether it's food, drink, air, water, what we put on our skin, all moves through that major detoxifying organ. So it is a really important player in our health and well-being. And so first of all, we'll start in the very basic beginning. So the liver is located in the upper right quadrant of our digestive system, and the gallbladder is just below that, a little smaller. And as food is being digested, it is eventually moving through the liver, and there are ways that it helps to digest and process our food, and then also, to what I was saying, detoxify what is coming into our bodies. And based on that, you can imagine all the meals we eat from being in utero until today. That's a lot, right? That moves through that organ. And so we want to care for our organ in simple ways. And here I am surrounded by these beautiful lemons for a reason. Not only are they delicious, but lemons are like one of the main foods that help to be like a little scrub brush in the liver. And so starting your day with a glass of water with some fresh lemon is a beautiful way to start the day. It's hydrating your whole system. The lemon and the citrus, you can also do this with lime or grapefruit. the citrus and the tartness, that like part of eating a lemon or a lime, is the very thing that gets the liver juices flowing and cleansing. It's a very gentle cleanser. So it's really nice to accompany. I don't necessarily encourage drinking while eating because you don't want to get in the way of your digestive juices flowing. But to have a few sips either before eating or maybe a half an hour after eating to just support your digestion is also a very nice idea. Or if you're thirsty while you're eating, it's great to just have water with some fresh lemon in it to really support your body with digestion. So other foods, I always like to start with food. So no matter what's happening with a client, I'll look and say, okay, let's look at what you're eating. What do you typically eat for breakfast? What do you typically eat for your midday meal, for dinner, any snacks in between? And let's see how those foods are affecting your whole body. And so the foods that really support our liver are all of the bitter foods. So bitter, sour foods, naturally bitter, sour foods, really support our liver and gallbladder health. So I'll name some and then I'll ask you to call some out. So we think about arugula. It's like a bitter green. Watercress, radishes, right? So the little red radishes that pack a punch sometimes, they could be like, whoa, that's a bite. Daikon radish, which are the long white radish, and any other radish, other radishes in the radish family, they all have that like sour or more bitter flavor. So anything bitter or sour is like liver loving. And then we move into greens. So even like broccoli can have a slightly bitter taste, broccoli rabe for sure. What are some other ones that anybody can think of here? Let's see. We'll move into root vegetables shortly, but I'll say that like even sometimes romaine lettuce, like the greens in romaine, can have like a slightly bitter taste. And so all of those veggies, dandelion greens, dandelion root, and then moving into some herbs, ginger, which is, I wouldn't say ginger is bitter or tart, but it's got this like wonderful spicy kind of flavor, and it is a really great cleanser and liver loving, and then it adds great flavor. So let's say you're sauteing some greens of whatever vegetables you like, a little olive oil, a little garlic or onion, and then you can grate. The ginger is quite potent, so I like to grate it in a zester, or I like to actually use a cheese grater when I'm using ginger and just kind of get that into your food. It adds such great flavor, and then that entire meal, that entire dish becomes this liver-loving dish. It's also, as it turns out, all of these foods are also really immune supportive. And so when you're eating all of those foods on a regular basis, incorporating them when you can, and instead of drinking plain water, that you're adding some lemon or lime or grapefruit to it, really kind of elevates the hydration. It happens that lemons also have a good amount of vitamin C, and so in the morning when you're squeezing some fresh lemon into your water, you're not only hydrating and awakening and waking up your digestive system, but you're also giving yourself some vitamin C, which is always, a really wonderful immune support. So other things that the liver can,
I have a question. Does lemon juice, like organic lemon juice, is that the same as squeezing a fresh lemon? Will I get the benefits from that?
That's a good question. I think you'll definitely get that liver-loving kind of tart experience of getting your juices flowing. And usually if you're buying, if you're using bottled lemon juice, it's been pasteurized, so it's been heated in order to stay fresh. If it's not like freshly squeezed lemon juice that is refrigerated, it's usually, it would have to be pasteurized in order to preserve it. And so the heating will destroy the enzymes and vitamins, but you would still get that tart taste. So I would just check the ingredients, because usually when you're buying lemon juice on the shelf in the supermarket, it has to be chemicals in there or preservatives in order to keep it fresh. So I would steer towards fresh whenever possible. That one will still give you the flavor, and it may give you a little liver loving action. Yeah. Other foods, garlic and everything in the allium family, nice and cleansing. So anytime that you can add some garlic, onions, shallots, spring onions now, you know, scallions, everything is in season here in the summer right now. Other things that the liver does is it helps to, actually I'll back up and say that very often if someone has skin issues, so psoriasis, which can also be caused from food sensitivities, but if there's like skin issues or rashes that are like a person can't figure out what's happening, or they go to a physician and they're not finding out what's wrong, if they come to me, we start on doing some very gentle cleaning up of their diet. Sometimes the liver just needs some extra love and is not able to detoxify in a way that it really needs. And so the body, in its infinite wisdom, needs to get these toxins out, and so it may come through the skin. And so psoriasis, eczema can often be treated with liver support to just kind of get people's detox pathways really flowing. Another thing about the liver that is so interesting, remember in the beginning I said what we put on our skin, it goes into our bodies. And so we want to be as mindful about what we're putting on our skin as what we are eating, so that, you know, so I mean, many people love aroma and oils and things, and so you just want to make sure that the products you're using have pure ingredients. And it needs to be listed on the jar or the bottle. And so if there are things in there that you don't know what they are, you can Google them and find out, what are they? What is the source? What are they made from? Why are they used? Usually it's a preservative. I teach lots of classes on making your own skincare products, and I started doing this so many years ago for this very reason, that it's as important what we're putting on our skin, on our hair, as what we're eating. And so, and you can do it. It's actually really fun to make your own products and to do it and to use natural ingredients. It's really fun to do that. And then you're giving your body so much love from the outside in as well as from the inside out. Anything that we can do to support our liver in doing its job is really, really helpful. So there are some foods and drinks. Let me just think for a minute. I want to just check my notes because I want to make sure I've shared everything with you. Oh, right. Mushrooms are really great for the liver. They're really, naturally, not so much. I mean, the white ones, so-so. But all the other ones, shiitake mushrooms, maitake, especially turkey tail, and a lot of the mushrooms that we get locally. Adams has an amazing selection. The High Falls Food Co-op has a great selection, and they're often locally foraged, which is just the best, the best, the best. And then working, learning if mushrooms intrigue you, and they are up now because we've had so much moisture and rain and now heat. It's really interesting to work with someone who forages mushrooms so that you can learn and receive the benefits of these wonderful, this wonderful food. So let's see so root vegetables are another source of liver-loving support. So the innocent carrot, I'm not so much of a fan of juicing. I just feel like it's healthier for us in certain circumstances to get the whole food in there. And so, juicing green vegetables is really powerfully cleansing. But when we're talking about root vegetables, so carrots, even like onions, squash, all of the radishes, turnips, rutabaga, all of those vegetables are fabulously cleansing and liver loving. And those primarily would be cooked. It's interesting with radishes that when you eat them raw, they really have that like strong bite. And then when you cook them, either in a saute or in a soup, when they have the bite, they're more detoxifying for the liver, probably both liver, gallbladder, digestive tract. When they're cooked and they're softer, they are naturally diuretic. So then they support the kidneys as well. So all of those root vegetables are natural diuretics when they're cooked. So all the radishes, turnips. So if you are someone who, or if you know somebody who tends to swell or hold water, then those root vegetables cooked, and you could just include them in soup. I wouldn't maybe not do it today, but but even like making a lentil soup, even if it's summer, and then that's a great way to get root vegetables in because it just really absorbs the flavors of the soup. That's a great way to get some mushrooms in there. Is soups, sautés, and you'll notice that like you're going to the bathroom a lot more, which is great. That's actually what we want. We want easy flowing elimination from all channels. So let's see, other root vegetables. Oh, right, okay. Burdock root. So burdock is an herb that actually, it's a wild food. It grows all over the Hudson Valley. And if you're not harvesting it yourself with an herbalist, or if you're a skilled, because they tend to go quite deep in the earth, which is why we also love it. It seems that a lot of, maybe all, many root vegetables, maybe all, are super liver loving. Burdock root is, and cooking it, so you could harvest it or you can purchase it. It is available for sale in different markets up here. And that is an amazingly wonderful liver-loving herb and food. In Japanese cuisine, there's a dish called tataki gobo, which is cooked burdock root with, I think it's like a sesame sauce, and it's delicious. And so it has a very earthy taste. I personally love sauteing it with carrots and onions. And you can use a little soy sauce, and you can saute it and then add a little water, cover it, and let the carrots and burdock get really soft. You can finish it with some sesame seeds and then a little more soy sauce if you want, and it's really delicious. It has a natural sweetness, because I think a lot of root vegetables gather their sweetness from the earth, and then when we eat them, we're bringing that grounding earth energy into our bodies, as well as that cleansing property for our liver. So burdock is a real winner. Milk thistle is another herb that actually grows wild around here, but you want to really make sure you know it, because there are some lookalikes. You can also purchase it and we have many amazing herbalists in our community who make these medicines. So getting, if you have been told, many people have been diagnosed with something called fatty liver, and that can come as a result of the detoxification pathway being, I don't want to say blocked, but kind of stymied or stifled. And we'll get into what foods can do that, what foods block the pathway. So right now I love starting with what foods can we eat to keep our body flowing. And let me tell you, pooping every day, so important. Peeing throughout the day, so important. When it's super hot out, we also need to hydrate even more. And a little off topic for a minute, that, drinking straight up water is nice. It goes through us quickly, but putting a pinch of mineral rich sea salt into your water, especially on super hot days, or when you're working out or exercising or doing things that are strenuous, you want to use, there's a brand called Redmond's, and it's a mineral rich sea salt. You can get it at Mother Earth's, or you can buy it online. And they, when you're adding a pinch of that mineral salt to your water, you are hydrating your cells. And that's really what hydration is. So when you're thirsty, you are already dehydrated. And so in the summer, and frankly, even in the winter, because we're indoors in heat, which can be very drying. So we want to be drinking more water than you're already drinking. For the most part, most of us need to be drinking a lot more water. Would you believe that the target goal, which is not easy to reach, but doable with focused attention, would be half of your body weight in ounces. So if someone weighs 200 pounds, then technically a goal would be to be drinking 100 ounces of water. That is not easy, and not easy to do certainly every single day, but it's a goal. And so many people think that so many clients come to me and I say, how much water are you drinking? Oh yeah, I'm drinking water all day. I said, that's great, let's track it. And then they realize they're sucking on the same 16-ounce bottle all day, so it can feel like we're drinking a lot of water, but we end up not drinking so much. So that was a little diversion, but I always like to encourage people to hydrate, because when we are hydrated, it's when the cells are receiving the minerals and the water. So it's not only water is definitely hydrating, and either we'll sweat it out or pee it out, but when there's minerals added to it that the body can absorb, that's a whole other conversation about how it supports the adrenals and so many other things. But part of full body care is knowing how to take care of our bodies in the best way. So let's get into, actually, I feel like I want everybody to be drinking this while I'm talking about it. So I need a volunteer to be squeezing some of these lemons. And what we'll do, because Christina lovingly rinsed these, and so you can squeeze them. And I learned a great thing where we actually put them in upside down. So typically most people would put it in right side up, and I learned that you get a lot more juice out of it. So you're going to squeeze it and And then we're gonna drop it right in there. Okay, and I'll pass that. We may not
Like
use it.
this.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Okay.
And so why not be enjoying this hydrating, yummy drink? And so this liver-loving lemonade has lemons and water and a splash of maple syrup, which is totally optional. So that just adds some sweetness and makes it a little bit, I mean, having the pucker sensation is actually really important. And at the same time, some people might find that they will drink a little more with just a little maple syrup in there. That said, if someone has blood sugar issues or diabetes or pre-diabetes, then I would encourage that you do it without the maple. Or some people are just really sensitive to sweet. Oh, I just got kissed by that.
Sorry.
It's totally great. And so this, I mean, doesn't that look so does it make you pucker just looking at it?
I'm salivating.
To me, that's exactly what this does. Like when I'm looking at lemons, I'm already I'm salivating. So my juices are totally flowing. So when we're salivating, that is the digestive process beginning in our mouth. So I'm gonna.
I used to drink this often, but then I got away from it because of the whole discussion about how it's not good for the enamel on your teeth.
Yeah.
So I kind of got away from it.
Oh, there's so much benefit. So for everyone who may not have heard that, some people can be concerned about how it affects our teeth. And if that is a concern for you, you can always, do a quick rinse after drinking it. But I would say don't let it stop you, because it's so good for us. That looks so amazing. So does anybody not want maple? Okay.
I'll pass.
Pass on the maple. Same. Me too.
I will take the maple.
Yeah. So you know what? I want to do a quick taste test and
Okay.
see.
Where we are.
Yeah. And so I like to use the back of the spoon in case, a lot of these, my wooden spoons have been in onions and garlic. So even when they're washed, I'm purposely staying sitting to not. Just gonna do a quick. Oh, I got a pit too. That's good luck. That's tart. All right, I'm gonna pour some out.
If nobody wants maple, I can skip the maple.
No,
I want
I
maple.
no, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I've never had maple in it. I put fruit, but not maple.
Oh, that's nice. What fruit do you put in yours?
As many watermelon as I can get.
Oh, that's so nice. Here you
And
go.
the citrus.
Thank you.
Yeah. Maple syrup is divine. So this is totally by taste, and you can tell I'm not measuring anything. I didn't even count how many are in there. You want it to be super lemony. And I would say, if you're drinking this in the morning, see if you can do it without the maple in the morning. And it doesn't have to be you could take for your morning brew, it can be 16 ounces of water with a half a lemon or even a quarter of a lemon.
Does it need to be, does hot or cold make a difference?
No, I would say normally super cold water, like a lot of people like ice, which can be really kind of shocking to the kidneys. But we happen to be having record-breaking heat right now, so cooler water, I mean, this is going to be a lot more appealing than. Can you taste this and tell me if there's enough maple in there? We want it to taste sweet, but not overly.
years ago, I couldn't drink anything that was warm. Water, anything.
What would happen? You would just be so unappealing.
It would, yeah, it would be unappealing to me. But now, I don't have to have ice or have it cold all the time.
That's great.
I just may fill up a glass or something and just let it get room temperature and just keep sipping.
Great. More?
I don't know how you feel about germs, but can I compare?
No.
Okay. Fair.
I mean, do you taste a little sweetness? I was very shy.
Very little.
Okay. We're going for more.
Don't put
Okay,
too
that's-
much, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want it to be overly sweet, but, you know, for
Hydrate.
some people, great. Can you do the honors of pouring? That would be wonderful. And just like carefully so that a lemon doesn't fly out and overflow.
Ooh, I got a pit.
You've been kissed. And I'll also,
Perfection. It's a little bit sweet, but still.
okay, I'll also leave this if anybody wants to add more. Would you pour for all? Thank you. Okay, so what
I
else?
don't want maple.
Yeah, totally. Hydrate and sweeten. Okay, so other things that, so let's talk a little bit about things that can inhibit the liver from really doing its job. And the other thing that feels important to say is that the liver and gallbladder really help to process fats in the body. And so when someone is eating a high protein diet, which depending on what's happening in your life, so many of us are eating a high protein or a high fat diet, you want to really support the liver and support your digestion with eating some fermented foods. So that's another thing. So fermented foods like kimchi, pickles that are refrigerated, not on the shelf and pasteurized. So like lacto-fermented, it's called. And it really is an acquired taste for many Americans that it's really, you know, in other cultures, there's always a fermented food that is served with your meal. So if you think back to hamburgers and pickles, the pickles help to digest that heavy meat. Ketchup at one time was a fermented food that helps with digestion of the meat. Hot dogs, sauerkraut, and mustard. So sauerkraut, when properly made and not like pasteurized on the shelf, but when you buy it in the supermarket and it's refrigerated with no vinegar in it, that's considered a lacto-fermented food, and that is a liver-loving condiment. And for many, I know I saw some faces here like, there's, it's an acquired taste for sour. And that sour taste is incredibly important for digestive health and for liver gallbladder health. And so let's say, like, if you're eating Japanese food, you know, the pickled ginger that comes on the side, now it's like in a sugar syrup, but originally, and you can also make your own, should you ever feel inclined, but originally it was sliced ginger that has been fermented, so you eat thin pieces of it to help digest the raw sushi that you're eating or the other food in the Japanese culture. In Korean food, there's kimchi, which is a whole bunch of fabulous
Delicious.
vegetables with with also some spice, right? There's hot peppers and heat in there. But all of those foods support digestion, helping your body to digest the foods that you're eating. And it's no accident that it's served in each of these cultures. Every single indigenous culture has fermented foods. Mexican food, salsa, was originally a fermented food. Those simple ingredients of tomatoes, onions, cilantro, garlic sometimes, that when it's made in a fermented way, that helps to digest the beans and the heavier corn and other foods that are part of Mexican food, the guac, and then of course whatever meat we're eating. And so it's very interesting that in Italy, the antipasto, there's always pickled peppers, and other fermented foods, like even some meats are fermented. And in that fermentation process, enzymes are created that help to digest our food. And so in America, unless you're eating somewhere where one of those cultures is involved, for the most part, of course, Indian food, all of those condiments that are on the table, some of them, most of them are not lacto-fermented, which means they're raw, but all of those spices and chutneys and things, they are made with ingredients that are made to digest, help to digest our food.
So yogurt,
Yeah.
that's,
And especially the hard to find ones that are tart, which many people are not accustomed to, so they don't like it. So then brands like the common brands, Dannon and whatever, they're adding plenty of sugar and fruit to, and then they're not really fermenting it very long so that it doesn't get sour. But there are some, and you can also make your own yogurt, which is actually a very satisfying, fun process. But there are some, if you're not venturing there are some brands that, Freevon, I think, is one brand, but there are some other ones that really have a naturally tart flavor. You can always add your own sweetener if you wanted, or your own fruit, or your own maple, or your own stevia. But like that tart flavor, it is giving you so much benefit, so much benefit. So that is supporting your whole digestion, small intestine, large intestine, liver, gallbladder, and it's providing your gut with some really good, healthy probiotics, which is a whole other topic. But as we stay focused on the liver, there are foods that, wait, sorry, I keep skipping over the other thought in my head, is that we want to do things that are supporting our health and well-being. And so I bring up the fermented foods is that they're great accompaniment to any meal, like even whether it's on a salad or just like a couple of forkfuls on your plate. It's great. And I always bring it like to the Thanksgiving table and people are like, what is this? And then I explain, how important this is. We're about to eat this giant meal with so much, and it's heavy. Like, let's support the digestion. You could even make a fermented cranberry.
I was just gonna ask.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping it raw. And then you would add some other fruit to it, like orange, to just make it. Cranberries on their own are like biting into a lemon magnified.
I love cranberries, so how can you ferment, or how can I ferment?
Yeah, so you like raw, fresh.
Yes.
Fabulous. So you can so if you want to ferment them raw, you can either chop them or put them in a food processor or a blender with just a few pinches of salt, believe it or not. And then I would add maybe some apple or orange to it to add a little bit of sweetness. You could grate some ginger in there. No, not your jam?
Oh, no.
Oh, you like
I
it?
have ginger every day.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, and then you would put it in a jar and keep the top on loosely, or you can put some cheesecloth over the jar and keep it out on your counter for a day or two. If you're putting fruit in there, like the orange, you would only, in this weather, I would only keep it out for the day. In fact, if your kitchen is warm, wait until it's a little cooler, and then basically that will be your condiment. And then there you go. Like, you have this beautiful fermented food that is so liver supportive. I forgot to say that cranberries are right in the same category, right? Because they're so tart, and that's amazing. Super great for your liver. They also happen to be great for our kidneys and really helpful for preventing or helping with, well, I'll say preventing urinary tract infections, preventing kidney stones, so those are, if you love them, I would get them in however you want. You can mash them and put a little bit in any kind of veggie dish, and to add like a little bit of a tart flavor. It's great.
Well, there was something that I did in my classroom. I always like to introduce new foods, because a lot of kids, they're just used to one type of food.
Yeah.
In their house.
Yes.
So around Thanksgiving or the holidays,
Yes.
like after Halloween into November,
Yeah.
I would bring raw, I have a heating unit, and I would bring in raw cranberries.
Wow.
And we would watch them pop, and I would put in the skin of an orange and just let that, and they would mash it and just watch it just change from one thing to another. No sugar.
No sugar and no maple.
No maple.
Woo! And then
no
they
sugar.
tasted it?
They loved it.
That is wild.
They absolutely loved it.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Like
So-
that kids would love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, truly.
I had to coax them a little bit.
Mm.
Threaten them. But
That's awesome. Wow. So let's talk a bit about foods that can cause some stagnation in the liver. So fried foods, deep fried especially, and it's so common. All kinds of like tempura or French fries or all kinds of like fried foods can be hard on the liver. And if that is something that someone is eating on a very regular basis, that can absolutely start to contribute to something called fatty liver. And what also happens is that the liver helps to process glucose in the body. And so when someone is eating a lot of sugar, processed foods, things like that, the liver has a really difficult time digesting. And so the fats, instead of being eliminated, they adhere to the liver, which is part of what fatty liver is. Excuse me. And so, listen, nobody eats in a perfect way. Fried foods can taste really delicious. The body can really is resilient, and we want to do all of these other things as well to support our well-being. So I had a client who had a really difficult time, like a real attachment to sugar and heavy desserts, and and it's not unusual. It's not unusual to experience that. And so what can happen is the insulin levels keep going up and the body starts producing more fat, and it can't process all the glucose. So often when someone has been diagnosed with prediabetes or diabetes, we want to also really support their liver with all of these foods that we're talking about, so that the fatty liver doesn't happen. Another thing that, alcohol, and depending on how someone's body processes alcohol, can really be a contributing factor in fatty liver or liver issues in general, because the alcohol really works the liver. It really works it. So a lot of people who have had alcoholism and struggle with that can get cirrhosis of the liver, which is like the liver just really can't do its job, and it can be, death defying, absolutely. So it's a really important organ. I know somebody who actually had a liver transplant, which is outrageously wild to imagine. But she had liver cancer. Didn't drink, it was just one of those really unfortunate things. And she had a liver transplant, and she's thriving. I mean, that is incredibly profound, to have, another organ that's that powerful. Like when people have had heart transplants or something, it is just next level, incredibly amazing. And so if you're someone who drinks alcohol on a regular basis, who eats fried foods on a regular basis, then you want to really make sure you're doing things to support your liver in all of these ways that I've been talking. And it could be as simple as like squeezing some lemon in your water. Like, it can be that simple and that doable. If it's, in the morning is great, but anytime, just bring this in, lemon or lime. And, it's like, this is going to get stronger and more potent, and hopefully maybe I'll give this to you to take home and we'll figure out how to meet, because you don't want to waste that. That's like liquid gold right there. So other things that can affect the liver in a negative way is, unfortunately, stress. Like everything else. Now, we are living in a world at a time where it's very difficult to not have stress. And similarly, we want to do things like resting, meditation, being in nature, walking, anything that soothes your soul also supports your liver. Because when we are relaxed and joyous and having one of those experiences, the body relaxes. When the body relaxes, then all of our organs get to work even better and not have to like push through. A lot of reasons why people love coffee. Guess what? It's bitter. And it's almost like an intuition, like the body's intuition of like, I need a bitter food. A lot of people rely on coffee for their morning poop, as well as clearing their head and being energized. Because, so it's a natural, right? It's a coffee bean. It's in nature. It has a bitter taste on its own. And so, interestingly, it really is a liver-loving drink if you tolerate it. However, let's talk about like what you put in it, right? Like, so if you're putting in, sugar, I'm not against heavy cream or half and half. I'm a fan of it, actually. But you want to buy some, if you can find it, which it's out there, that's not ultra pasteurized and homogenized, because then it's like heated, and then the molecular structure of those proteins change, and then that's more work for the liver. So in the health food store, and maybe at Adams, and certainly at the High Falls Food Co-op for sure, you can find milk, heavy cream, and milk, heavy cream, half and half, that is low pasteurization. So it's only heated in one way, and it's as low as possible, low temperature, not homogenized and not ultra pasteurized. It's unfortunate that it takes some work. We also have, farmers up here that sell raw milk and cream. So it's not like we should be staying away from fats. There are healthy fats, and then there are unhealthy fats. And so when I talk about deep fried foods, it's because the oil is heated to a really high temperature, and that changes the molecular structure of it and creates something called trans fats, which make it really difficult it's just extra work for the liver, and it's a hard food to digest, and it is not healthy for us. So that should be ideally kind of an every now and then kind of food. And then see how you can support your digestion in all the ways that we're talking about. Before we end, I want to say something about a fascinating thing about our liver and menopause. And so, there it is, yeah. So the liver actually helps to filter out excess estrogen. And so when a woman is in perimenopause, moving into menopause, with all of those physical, emotional changes, body temperature, all the things, the liver actually has an effect on, like, if the liver is challenged and we're not doing all the things like that I've been naming, and then maybe, most people are eating a very heavy diet, and they don't many people don't pay attention. Am I pooping every day? That is so key. If you're not pooping every day, then you want to make some changes in your diet and lifestyle to get those pipes moving. We don't want that stagnation staying in the body. And so what can happen for women is our microbiome changes in menopause, and so digestion changes, bloating happens, constipation happens, and so in that state, the liver isn't able to process and remove the excess estrogen, and so it's floating around in the body, and guess what causes hot flashes? So we want to really, contributes to hot flashes and really has an impact in that. It's also like our thyroid, the liver changes some thyroid hormones, and if it's unable to do that, then it's very common for women in particular to have Hashimoto's or low or high thyroid, because the liver isn't able to do its job. And so, can you believe it? There are so many things that the liver does and that we really want to support. And it's so easy to not know this, unless you come to a class like this or do your research. As I was preparing for this class, it's one of my favorite classes to teach, and I do have a lot of favorites, but I'll say that this is so far-reaching that it affects us in every season of our lives, and there's some beautifully simple ways that we can support our liver. And so as we close, I want to encourage you to have lemons as part of your shopping list, and look at how easy it was, with or without maple. Add in some fermented foods, add in some of that tart yogurt, bring in some of those more like bitter foods. So even like making a salad, that you maybe add in a little bit of chopped dandelion or watercress or something, or arugula, that's going to add a little bit of a tart, bitter flavor. You can always put like berries in a salad if you're using some more like tart or bitter greens, and it's really just a wonderful way to support our wonderful liver and digestion. Does anybody have any questions before we close?
No, but thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm hoping that there are some new things that you'll be taking home and some surprises of things that you may not have realized. Does anybody want to volunteer and say like one thing you're going to put in place upon your departure?
Well, I already drink a lot of lemon. I need to get fermented foods.
Great. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, fantastic.
You have just verified things that I have been doing with my daughter pushing me and changing the way that I eat and cook. It's been a few years now. The things that everything that you said, I do already. And it's funny because I listen to my body. If my body says, which I do about every 2 weeks or maybe once a month, I'll have my tempura, which I love.
Yep.
But then right after, I have to have lemon water.
That's excellent.
And
Excellent.
that's something, it just comes to me. You have to listen
It's
to
your
body.
body's intuition. Yeah,
You really
so
do.
good.
But the cranberries, oh yeah.
That's great. Wonderful. You know what's interesting, in a traditional Japanese restaurant, the tempura dipping sauce has grated daikon in it for the very reason that we're talking about. It's an indigenous wisdom of including those liver-loving foods to help digest that heavier, deep-fried food. Yeah,
They knew what they were doing.
yeah. Every indigenous culture.
Right.
Yeah.
I also feel like I eat pretty well. I was curious about what you had to say tonight because I've noticed that I'm starting to have like arthritic things going on, especially my hands. That's where I notice it the most. But I think what I'm going to try to do is add some more like roasted carrots and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Because I like them.
Yeah, that's great.
But I need to bring more of those things in more
Yeah.
regularly.
That's great. You just reminded me, there's a really wonderful dish of like roasted carrots, and maybe there's thyme, and then you serve it with some really tart yogurt with some fresh
Yeah.
lemon squeezed in
And
there, and
cranberries.
there you go. Some cranberries on top, maybe some chopped walnuts. We've got a dish. So I wish you blessings on your health and on your liver and on your whole body, and that you take the time to do some of these things to support your body and to share this wisdom with
I think
whoever
a lot
would
of
be
this stuff
interested.
is about giving yourself permission to do it, you know, to take the extra time to make your healthier meals and to bring more fish into your diet if that's what you need, or, you know,
Yeah.
cook with olive oil, or, you know, just make those little tweaks, give yourself permission
Yes.
to do those things and to spend the extra little money that it's all worth it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's true. And like we can start slowly. You reminded me that like if you're going for a snack that's in a package, read the label. It's interesting, partially hydrogenated oils have been outlawed, but it's going to take a while for them to actually put it into place. I don't remember what year it's happening, but there's many companies that have already taken that out But, you know, we've also had however many, 50, 100 years of this, you know, terrible, highly processed oil that improves shelf life, but not our shelf life. And so you want to read labels, even when you're buying nuts, like, you know, buy dry roasted nuts versus deep, you know, if it has peanut oil in it, or, you know, it may say partially hydrogenated, drop that thing and find something else, because that, you don't need it. You don't need that, adding that to your body. So thank you again, Christina, and thanks to the holistic health community, and looking forward to hearing more.
I just wanted to say that, like, so much of what you said is so important. I'm gonna want to hear this again. So if any of you would like to, you know, write down these recipes, and a lot of us need to hear things more than once to really take it in, go to holistichealthcommunity.org, onto the self-care pages, and rewatch Holly's class.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.